This is The A. I'm Reg Clay.
And Norman G.
This is The A, where we talk about life in the theater and the theater of life. As always, we are sponsored by Central Works, a new play theater headed up by Gary Graves and Jan Leifler. Central Works, reinventing theater one play at a time. We always want to thank Central Works, Jan Leifler and Gary Graves. They're involved in doing a production right now.
Yeah, she's in it.
Yeah, I know. I was telling you about it. So we want to thank them and also our wonderful consulting producer, Mallory Samara, for helping us out. And we bring back Kim Donovan, birthday girl, Kim Donovan. Happy birthday, Kim. Thank you so much. I would have expected you to say, hey, listen, it's my birthday and I'm rehearsing for Dot and I'm doing other things. So I'm sorry I can't do anything, but you took time to speak with us. So thank you so much. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. I love you guys. I would absolutely spend my birthday with you.
Hey, we are truly blessed. We won't go into an origin story because we know your story. You're originally from Florida. You went to school in New York. You've been here. I think you had spent some time in Chicago too, right?
No, Chicago.
Okay, I mistook you for someone else. But right. You've been involved. I mean, you Dirty Butterfly, Stage Kiss, all the way. I think you were LBJ's wife in all the way. Of course, you were our Ellen Informant in Paris. You've been doing all sorts of things. You're doing the Leviathan Chronicles, and you are a casting director. You started up, I think, your own company, KSD Casting.
Yep.
So that is awesome. We'll talk about all of that stuff. Norman, how is your week? And I'll be seeing you in a couple of hours for the Baldwin Project.
In fact, I just got a message from one of the actors saying, "Hey, can you pick me up at BART?" I'm like, yeah. No, it's been not all Baldwin this week, but it's a lot about Baldwin. And in fact, I'm probably throwing a last piece at you for the Giovanni's Room.
Oh, sure.
I've been doing about a month and a half of a teaching gig at Redwood High in Larkspur.
Mm-hmm.
And it started off 3 days a week. And then the teacher was like, "Could you do these other classes too? Could you do Romeo and Juliet scenes?" I'm like, "Sure." So it's been 5 days a week for the last 2 weeks, and I'll be so happy to be off the road.
It's always cool.
What I'll do with myself after today.
Yeah. Kim, have you ever thought about teaching? You'd be a great teacher.
I love coaching. I do coach quite a bit.
Yeah, you're a vocal coach, right?
Yeah, but the amount of time it would take for me to pull together a class plan stops me from going for it. There's so many other things going on, and I just I get very shy about teaching. But I love coaching. I love working with folks on monologues and voiceover auditions, and I love that one-on-one time.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk about that. We had another guest on. You weren't around, Norman.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shucks. It was Joyce DeMonico Hump. And she talked about I think her day job is working with individuals who have disabilities, vocal disabilities. And we talked about things that, that both of us study, like resonators and articulators. And I'm sure you get involved in that a little bit too, don't you, Kim?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
That is awesome. There have been some current events. I try not to bum us out because, there's just been a lot of, the Olympics, I don't know. People are saying that the Olympics have been very disastrous. We saw a 15-year-old Russian girl just cry her tears out because she was caught doping. I'm sure that had more to do with the Russian Federation, who she represents.
Coaches, yes.
Exactly. And because of the backlash that she received, of course, from Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff, she flopped. She was like the number one figure skater. And then because of the controversy, I think she placed like fourth and she fell a couple of times and she was just crying her eyes out.
I saw the clip last night. God,
yeah. And then you have Eileen Gu, who is American born, but she represents China, and people are giving her grief about that. So, we're very, very hard on.
Hey, did she get the gold? That's all that counts.
Yeah, no, she got several gold. She's one of the great skiers of our time. But I get the sense that, the Olympics have been hard, especially on women, young women. There was an article about how Asian women are treated. And it's just, I just wonder, what's going on. And yeah, the Olympics were, it's coming to a close, but it's It's has been good.
I also saw a neat story about so the social media thing you probably have heard in the news. They told folks if they were going to not take their phones or their computers to get a burner phone because the Chinese government is all up in
Oh,
everybody's business.
yeah.
And so they did the Chinese government, I assume, or the Olympic, the
Hmm.
host, um, talked to all the athletes about what the media culture was in China. They tried to put a neutral spin on it, but basically kind of said, this is what's going on here, but you guys get. So it turns out the people in the Olympic Village have a lot more connectivity. They don't have the censorship that the
Oh,
regular Chinese populace has.
Oh
And
goodness.
but they've all been told the talking point so they can talk about that. Oh no, I wouldn't want to do that. There was one,
Yeah.
I think she was a skier who was known for talking about human rights abuses. And she's like, I'm here to ski. I'm not going to talk about that
Yeah,
stuff.
it's one of those dicey things, and the NBA went through it a couple of years ago because there's a lot of money to be made in China, but you don't
Right.
want to piss
Oh,
them
right.
off, but you don't want to acknowledge that there are human rights abuses that go on.
And they did, and they got kicked out. That was not good.
Yeah. Did you guys have a take on San Francisco basically voted out three board of supervisors, school board of supervisors, three school board members.
Yeah.
It's as if they overhauled everything. I mean, I'm not a parent, so I have no idea what's going on, but a lot of parents are frustrated. Well, this is all about COVID-19. Some people are adhering to, let's get vaccinated, let's keep masks. I still wear a mask when I go to work, but people are being very, very frustrated. Kim, I know you're a young parent. I mean, you have a son, right?
yeah, I do. He is turning 8 in a couple of days. And the Berkeley school system has been pretty on top of it. I mean, his whole life in school, he had half a year of kindergarten and then COVID hit.
Oh, he's one of those. Okay.
Yeah. And so he was home. He was home for almost all of first grade. He went back to school for, I think, like 4 weeks at the end of first grade. And this is his first year actually in school. And Berkeley, keeps the parents out. We're not allowed on campus. The kids are masked. They're having a ball. There has been no super spread. They're tested once a week, and I couldn't be happier with how they've handled the whole thing. And I know that's rare. I'm also a parent who, I did my research. My kids vaccinated. We're mask friendly here, so I have a very different perspective on it than I think the parents in San Francisco.
What about, because one of the issues that came up with this is those kids, um, like Mara what grade is he in now?
He's in second now.
Yeah, Mara starts recorder with second graders. Typically, that's the typical pattern. These kids have not been acclimated to the classroom in the same way that they would have been before. And I try to not use pejoratives in all this. They're saying they're not developing, and I'm like, no, they're kids. They're developing. They're not being socialized in the same way they were socialized
Right.
before, and the system needs to adjust to that. Have you run into that at all?
Absolutely. It's fascinating watching Elliot navigate social situations at this
Mhm.
age. He is my only child, so I don't have any other experience except this one. So I don't know what's abnormal.
Mhm.
But also, I mean, kids are resilient as hell. I mean, they adapt so much better than we do. And so I'm also watching him excel. And yeah, last year there were parents that were a lot more hands-on than I was. I can see where he is, where he's falling, where he's
Mhm.
lacking. I think we focused more on fun last year because we were all stuck in the house together.
Right.
And I wasn't a taskmaster with homework. And that's what we needed to survive. So it's funny because the kids are in wildly different spectrums in terms of how they were schooled last year, how it
Mhm.
was handled at home, and how it is how that's translating to the current classroom.
Mhm.
It's we all have to have so much grace with each other. I'm so proud of his teacher. She's shout out to Luba Hancock. She's amazing. Because she's handling, 22 kids at insanely different levels, not just education, but social. And it's been a wild ride, but I'm so proud of everybody.
Yeah, I mean, we have to understand that teachers aren't just teaching the curriculum, but they're also dealing with the behavioral issues if there are any issues. And, some kids are handling really well, some kids are not handling it really well.
Yeah.
And I just get a feeling that there may be a few parents who are acting like Karens, who are like, hey, I'm tired of, having my kid wear a mask, and what's going on, and can't we just open things up? And of course, it's pressure on parents, especially who have to have day jobs, and they need school to sort of be a sort of caregiver.
Yeah.
Right.
Because if the kid is at home because the schools are closed down, it forces the parent to come out of pocket to pay for someone to watch over their child, or they have to stay home.
Or they have to stay home. But I think the thing in San Francisco is partly it's a power grab. It is very much being funded by it's their biggest funder
Oh, you
are
think
the folks,
conservatives are funding it?
conservatives are funding it. It's the biggest funders are the folks that have been doing the charter school, the push for
Mm,
charter school stuff. This is their attempt to get into the school board by getting three progressives out.
yeah, I talked with a lawyer friend of mine, and he was saying that I think one school member said that, I don't know, had made some derogatory comment about the parents who were saying that one parent, they were acting like Nazis or the Gestapo or something like that. So
Well, they did overreach. I mean, the whole changing the names of the schools. We want to have this conversation, but when you try to make Abraham Lincoln and George Washington villains, you're going to get pushback in America.
yeah, especially in light of President's Day holiday, which is on Monday. But okay, so I tried to squeeze in some fun stuff. So a Georgia woman faked her pregnancy to get paid leave, and this was her third time doing it.
Her third time faking it.
Oh, hold
Yes,
on a second. Let me close the door.
it's okay.
Oh,
So
those are some fierce donuts happening outside of Norman's house.
yeah, welcome to Oakland. But
I
yeah,
was
so
just
this,
thinking recently that that hasn't been happening very much, but
oh, the
apparently
donuts.
it's time. We're
Yeah,
overdue. It's a
well, I mean,
regular thing here.
yeah, well, the weather's wonderful, so people are enjoying themselves. Yeah, so this woman in Georgia, she works for I forget where she works, but she wanted to get, I guess she wanted to get leave, and she went through the rigmarole of faking a husband and having the husband call, and faking a doctor and getting leave. And I think after the third time, and after, I
What do you
forget how
mean the
much money
third
she made out
time?
of it. Yes, three times she did this. So I don't know. I thought that was a bit hilarious. And also, a California nun will get a year in jail for stealing $835,000. She was also a principal at a school, and she was mishandling funds. So, and she said, I think during her sentencing, I have sinned, which is like, no duh.
Yeah.
And
She does not suffer from hyperbole.
right, exactly. And the very last thing is I don't know if you guys remember the Capitol Steps. That was a comedy
Yes.
troupe in Washington. They were former aides of Reagan, and they would do these skits, sort of like Saturday Night
I
Live.
didn't realize they were Reagan aides. Oh, geez.
Yeah, this is back in 1985. So they are basically, they have shut down. They mentioned COVID-19, so they can't perform live anymore. But also the political climate is just too hostile for
Yeah.
them to give middle of the road
Right.
humor that everybody could laugh at themselves. I mean, even Reagan enjoyed the skits where he was being lampooned, and he had no problem with it. But immediately after Trump, and even now with Biden, I guess just with the polarization, the Capitol Steps, after I think 40 some odd years, are shutting down. So it just shows how poisonous the political climate is even now. So it is what it is.
That was weird. That's weird. I mean, I very quickly, I didn't realize they were Reagan folk, but I knew that they were boring. I mean, they were too middle of the road. It was just too middle of the road.
Yeah. I think it was of an earlier generation. I think Generation Zers are like, I can get this from YouTube, or I can get this from Saturday Night Live or something like that. So in any
But I
case,
know that PBS used to to not host them, but to make promote them.
Yeah.
I used to get a lot of promotion on NPR, and I was like, yeah, okay.
So with that, let's talk about Kim. So Kim, the last time that I think we may have been in the middle of rehearsals performing in Paris the last time that you were on,
Yeah.
and you had just finished doing
Oh,
Dirty Butterfly, and you've done so much since then. Um, so now are you well, I guess you're not transitioning because you're still involved in, let's talk about Dot. So how are you
okay.
enjoying the rehearsals for Dot?
Oh my
Oh,
God, you
well,
beat Coleman.
yeah,
Woo!
it's so good. It's so good. It's been, it's been a hot minute since I've been in rehearsals, but those shows have all been canceled.
Right.
Right. And so this is the first time I am, knocking the rust off, and I see it happening. We're a few weeks away from opening, and uh, I, I'm reading the script. I'm trying to break this character, and boy, that man is a writer. Because just when I'm like, I can't figure this out, I read a little before or a little bit after, and it is all right there. It is so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gorgeous play. And Kimberly Ridgway and we were in All the Way together,
Oh,
but we didn't have any scenes together. So we've
right.
been trying to get on stage together for a while now. So this is kind of our first foray into actually getting to act opposite each other. So I'm super excited about that. And Sean J is directing,
Right.
and man, he makes you work. There's no
So this is
there's
basically a Yay production.
yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
and
It
also
is.
you're acting with Lorenzo Gonzalez. I think he calls himself Lore now,
Lore. Yep.
and
Yep.
he and I were on stage. I'm hoping I'm getting the pronouns right.
It's
They okay, but Laura and I, we were on stage for oh shucks, Stories High, the very first Stories High.
Oh,
So it's like, wow, all these individuals that I know from different parts of my theater life are together. But
Yep.
it sounds like Dot it's a mixed family, right? It's a mixed family and everyone's going through certain issues.
No, it's a Black family in Philly. I'm playing the white girl who grew up in an all Black neighborhood. They're my second family.
Mhm.
oh,
Um,
nice.
and Dot is in early stages of dementia, Alzheimer's. So it's the family coming to grips with that. It's the holidays, so everything's chaotic anyway. It's hilarious. It's brutal. It's very real. It's a gorgeous slice of life into a family trying to cope with all of this, and external family as well.
Wow. Yeah.
The chosen family. So it's just it's a blast. It's hard. It's this particular group of people, they're so full of joy and they're so eager to work, and it's just so nice to roll up my sleeves and kind of dive in with them and see where it goes. There's a lot of structure, but there's also so much play, and I miss having to be on my toes like that. I miss, I remember doing Dirty Butterfly while in rehearsals for Foreman in Paris with you guys, and just feeling high as a kite driving from one to the other, right? Like slamming my brain and body into these different worlds. And it's just nice to be back to that. It's so good.
No, that is awesome. And
Yeah.
it sounds like God is fantastic. I mean, it sounds like a slice of life. It reminds me of, like my family or the families that I'm used to,
Yep.
where there is adversity, but the family works very hard to stay at its core, to stay together and to not be affected by what outside elements that go on. So no, that is awesome. Now,
Yes.
were you recruited or did you audition for it? I mean,
I had to audition. I did a reading of it with Sean J in the middle of COVID. And then NCTC picked up the show, and I had to fight for it.
Mm.
I was nervous. I haven't been that nervous in a long time. I didn't want to let Sanjay down, and I just really, I really wanted the part.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when you audition, there's this sense of like, well, it'll be mine if it's mine, and if not, I'm moving on to the next thing.
Right.
And this one was, I mean, it was electric under my skin.
Yeah.
I wanted it.
And
Yeah.
you got it. And you
And I
got it.
got it. I know. I'm super excited. And we're in that messy stage of rehearsal where everything feels, you're in the swamp, right? You're like in the fog of it. Pieces are falling into place, but you're fighting to get it all aligned. And yeah, I can't wait for people to see it. We're working so hard and having a ball.
Yeah. Now
Oh,
it'll be both streamed and live. Is that correct?
I don't think they're streaming it. I think it's just live.
Just live? Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
that's, yeah,
And
that's, go ahead.
their safety protocols are fantastic.
Yeah. What are they doing?
We the actors we have to get a PCR test every week, and then we have to do a home test every week.
Mm-hmm.
So we're basically tested twice a week, and they've got, all of the tech that kills all the airborne everything. And they are spacing patrons out. They're limiting seating. They're taking days out of the run. It's they're taking care of us as much as they're taking care of their patrons, which feels lovely.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that the new conservatory, they're taking the precautions of bringing back live theater. There are a lot of companies that are like, well, the hell with it. We'll just, we had, we actually had Anton Swell,
Yeah,
um,
Robert.
Robert. We had him on, and it was sad to hear, him saying, there's not an awful lot that we can do, and we'll have to. I think he's going to curtail the season until maybe next year to see if things get better. So there's some companies that have really faltered because of COVID-19. There's some who are like, we're going to do what we can to make theater live and to continue it going. And it's very encouraging. So I'm glad that you guys are having fun doing dot and all of that stuff. Let's talk about KSD casting. Why did it occur? I mean, how
How
did
did
that
it
pop into your
happen?
head? Yeah.
Woo, this is an accidental business, you guys. I
Yeah.
left Pixar, and I helped produce a performing arts festival in San Francisco. I was producing a documentary. I was all over the place. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and it was the first time in my adult life that I didn't have something lined up. So it was terrifying and exhilarating. And folks started leaving Pixar and kind of creating their own studios.
Oh, wow.
And they reached out for help. So at first, casting was me half-assedly helping out friends, find the right people for parts. And it lined up with me starting to do theater again. So I happened to be meeting beautiful theater folks out here and could push them into voiceovers. It was fantastic. And then I started getting handed around. And then I had to step up the adult portion of the business and be a professional human about it, and lock in some procedures and a database and all of that stuff. And now it's happening.
Yeah.
And I'm just in a place with it where I no longer feel like I'm chasing it. There are opportunities coming, and I can take them and know that I have the capabilities and capacity to do it beautifully. Whereas before, the first few years, I was just running after a thing that I was good at, but didn't quite know how to do. So it's nice. It's nice to feel it all slam into place and still have it be exciting, because every day is different. And the Rolling Stone part of me needs that. I was so scared to lock into a casting business, but the things that I cast are so wildly diverse, and
Mm-hmm.
the stories are so different, and my God, can I get involved in your story, right? Like that's my passion. Read your
That's
stuff
cool.
and then I get to match make and find you the right people for it. Ooh, I love it. So it's a great job for me, and I feel very lucky that it formed and that I stepped into it the way that I did, because I very easily could have run away from it. So yeah, it's great. It's a little intimidating at times, but I just keep I just keep going. We'll see.
It sounds like it found you. I mean, some people
Yeah.
pursue a job, but sometimes you do something and all of a sudden this thing that you do that you thought was just going to be a temporary thing grows and grows and grows. And it's like, oh, wow, this has become a thing. And usually
Yeah.
it's a good indicator that you're good at it and, that people do come to you. And I don't think if you're going to be a casting director, be one who is also an actor, because, if Kim Donovan, suggests somebody, it's like, well, hey, Kim Donovan's a fantastic actress and she's been on stage with this person. I could trust what she says, rather
Mm-hmm.
than a suit saying, well, this person looks right for the part, or I saw this audition,
Yeah.
and you
That's
don't
got to be
know.
a challenge.
Yeah. And I think Norman and I, we've talked about that, where casting directors can sometimes destroy a production because they casted the wrong people.
Yep.
Well, I would think it's more the producers, honestly. I've known so many casting directors who want, like, diversity, for example. I auditioned for, what is it, Skin of Our Teeth, which is,
Mm.
this comedy, um, Thornton Wilder, the
Antrobus
a
family, yeah.
family unit that goes through history, from prehistoric time, Fred Flintstone, all the way up to, I think,
I
20th
think,
century,
yeah,
something
I
like
think
that.
World War II. I was
Yeah.
in one production of Skin of Our Teeth, and matter of fact, with Alan Coyne,
Uh,
and where he
well,
plays
but
like a little
so
mini Hitler. Yeah.
I auditioned, and I'm looking at somebody who, like, there was some little Latino dude who's also auditioning for the same part, some white dude who's auditioning for dad. I'm like, what the hell is this? And I love that because that is somebody kind of flexing that casting muscle. But I think more often than not, you get casting directors go, have you considered this? Have you considered that? And the producers may have a very narrow idea of what they think they want. And unfortunately, that's, you don't have, I don't know how much latitude you get with that as a casting director.
You do fight, um, you do fight the institution quite a bit. You fight preconceived notions of what a character looks like, not just skin color, but size and shape and ability. And
Right.
It can be, even now, very frustrating to fight what someone has in their head.
Yeah. Even cliches like
Yep.
attitudes.
The good thing is I've been working with people who are really open to change and to fix mistakes that they've made in the past. And I just finished a season. I was just casting for 42nd Street Moon with Nick Ishimaru was my casting partner.
Hmm.
And I was really proud of them for being so open, for pushing the line, for really trying. I mean, they're really trying to change how they see things and how they cast things. And a lot of companies are all talk in that vein. So it
Yes.
was nice to actually see people step back and let us bring them talent that they weren't anticipating. And not only that, to have them embrace it. So I walked away from that frazzled. It was an intense job, but it was also it was a great experience. And Nick's wonderful. I don't know if you guys know Nick Ishimaru, but
No, no.
he's my opposite in so many ways, and we hadn't met before working together, and it was just a joy to how our differences played into making the same job work.
Yeah. I had a quick question. I had a
Yeah.
quick question for you, Norman. What the yings and yangs of casting a show, let's say you're directing, well, I mean, like the Baldwin Project, I mean, you're looking for actors all by yourself, but let's say you had the budget to have a casting director. Would you prefer to do it all by yourself, just find the people that you want to work for, or would you have, let's say, a casting director? I'm wondering what the yings and yangs of having one rather than a company just
Well,
trying to
so
do it by themselves.
for me, it's not like it's not like the casting. It's not like I say, hey, fill these slots, and the casting director just does it. There's a conversation that has to happen. What's great about having a casting director is getting that other perspective, and just honestly, somebody who just stays organized. These are the people that we saw. These are this is all the information that you need to know about this person. This is their availability. This is what they can do, can't do. This is why, they might be a good fit. You want this other person. That person that we saw that you maybe felt meh about would be a really good fit with them. That being able to have that conversation, I find is wonderful. I couldn't imagine just saying, here, go cast my stuff.
And that wouldn't be fun for me. That would be terrifying, right? To not have that open dialogue and to not be working with someone, because you don't want casting to happen in a vacuum. That's
Right.
horrible. Even with voiceovers, if I'm casting a bunch of one-liners, the small parts, that's
Yeah.
still I'm never going to just do that for someone. I will make recommendations and show you why I believe in this person, but I would never come to you and say, here's the 4 people covering these, 80 lines.
Right.
It's not helpful.
Right.
And
And
it's fun.
also, yeah,
So
go
what
ahead.
we're doing with Foreman in Paris, what we're
Yeah.
doing with this James Baldwin project, and what I just did, the teaching that I just did, doing scene work. Romeo and Juliet has a lot of characters who are just in one scene or in a few scenes, and it's easy for the actors to think, like I had a Friar Lawrence who really was just sort of checked out. He's like, well, no, this scene is really between Paris and Juliet. I'm like, no, you are the most important person. You have power in this world. Your character has power. We need to see that.
Yep.
And you've got a girl who just pulled a knife and said, if you don't help her, she's going to kill herself. You got to talk her down. We need to see that. But you can't just say, well, here's the solution. You have to find that moment of, oh, I'm worried about you. I'm trying to connect to you. And now that I've got your attention, I got to come up with a solution. Now there's a cop parked in front of my house.
But it's interesting. Just talking about, because I never really thought about the role of a casting director. But I guess there's like 3 things you have to be. You have to be sort of an advocate for the people that you have, the actors and actresses that you have in your Rolodex in your mind. Hey, I think I know someone who could be good for this and that and the other, and advocate for that. But also you have to understand the play and understand the concept of what the production is going to be about, and also a great administrator. I imagine. Now, Kim, do you sit in on the auditions and the sides and the cold reads and things like that?
I try to. It's so important for me in the moment and also for future work. If auditions are so intimate, and sometimes you're seeing the best of someone, but you're also seeing all of their soft spots as well, right? It's a traumatic, beautiful experience to come in and audition for something. And so it helps to have patience and grace as someone observing, right? Because you understand, you've been in that situation. But also, the more I sit in, the more I'm included, the more shows I go see, the more Zoom work I watch, I can tell you, hey, that was nerves. I've seen them do X,
Right.
Y, and Z. Like, let's bring them back. Just for me, bring them back. It's not a waste of time, and so you fight for strangers. That's also the funny part of this job, is folks will never know the amount that you go to bat for them, right? Personal relationship or not, if I've seen you, if I have touched you somehow in this process, I feel a little responsibility for you, for how you are treated in the room, for how my communication lands with you.
Hmm.
I try to take care of you because I am also an actor. I
Right.
get it. So there's an empathy, having been on all sides of that desk.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I know how to care for the production team. I can look at a director and know where their stress level is. I can be grout in an audition situation and know that the person who's handling the talent maybe needs a little help, right? Or we need to speed up the process somehow. And I think it's so important for a casting person to be able to morph, to wear different hats in the heat of the moment. I think a lot of casting directors sit back and don't participate at that level, but you got to roll up your sleeves. You've got to get to know people. You've got to know that this person can be pushed beyond what you've seen them do. You know, there's something very intuitive about it, and I just, as you can tell, I love it.
Oh no, it's awesome. It's awesome listening to you, and
Dude,
I'm sure if you're watching, let's say you're talking with the director, and they may get a sense, okay, this is how I can work with this person, or this is how, because it sounds like Kim has a personal relationship with whoever the actor or actress is. The director may have a snapshot judgment. Well, I don't know if this person's right for it, and you will advocate for that person, but also give the director a sort of tell, okay, this is how I can approach the person, or these are the personalities,
yeah,
because you're almost like the agent for that person. So it's very interesting, and it's funny. So in a couple of hours, I'll be meeting up with Shea Angela Aceveda as we do the Baldwin Project. He's also involved with this.
Hmm.
And I remember when he was on the Yay, we were talking about how we were advocating for Shea, for Plethos to be in Foreman in Paris, where Plethos was like, well, he's a bit expensive, and we were like, no, 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 we want him. So the advocacy for an actor, even when the actor doesn't know what's going on, is a wonderful thing. So
it is the what happens when an actor leaves the room, what happens before they enter. I mean, we all just want them to succeed, right? Like you want whoever is walking in to be the person. That's just the situation. But from an actor's point of view, it's very different, right? It's a you feel like you have to prove yourself. You feel like you have to, and whereas really we are auditioning for you as much as you're auditioning for us. We're all seeing if we're the right fit. And it's just trying to make sure that everyone feels taken care of. And I love that my bigger jobs, my flashier jobs, my animation work, my video game work, all of that enables me to keep a foot in the community, in the theater world,
Hmm.
because that allows me to spend time casting for theaters. That allows me the time to give recommendations. I get calls all the time from people trying to cast something and they're in need of an actor, and I don't mind giving that information for free because I've got my foot in this other sturdier world of casting. It's worked out rather beautifulely for me.
yeah, I was
And
going to,
so good to get to merge
yeah,
my theater loves with my voiceover loves. And
Hmm.
you know, someone who's never done a voiceover before and giving them a quick, like, okay, when you walk into the booth, let's let's pretend like we've done this before. This is what it's like. This is what it feels like. This is what you have to do. This is how you push. We act with our bodies, and to
Right.
learn how to still your body and push all of that movement out of your throat. Woo! That's a hard thing to adjust to. So yeah, I love it. I get quite passionate about it.
How
yeah,
do
yeah.
you?
Well, go ahead,
I was
Norman.
gonna say, how do you? Excuse me. How do you keep up with the talent pool? Um,
Whew.
And that's a thing I always think about with casting directors. You probably have a fairly full plate. Or, how much are you able to get out and kind of see who else is out there that maybe you're not aware of?
So, um, thankfully, because of COVID, people are also streaming productions or
Right.
recording productions in a way they haven't before. I don't know how much of this I'm allowed to say, but I can beg if there's a show with people in it that I don't know. I fight to see it. I I look at every casting notice that comes up. I look at every cast list that pops up and I scan it. Like, who is this? Have I seen them? Have I not? I cold call. Um, I have no problem bringing someone into an audition that I've never heard or seen before,
Mm-hmm.
but I know they were affiliated with a production team that I love.
Right.
And I wish casting directors and theaters were more open. I think right now we're all clutching at people
Right.
and we're clutching at the same people.
Yep.
And if we took a minute to hand folks around, we would all be benefiting. I had a beautiful casting conversation with NCTC just about, their process and how we find people. Also had a conversation with a casting director named Chris Brown, who does video games and animation. And I felt so lucky to be able to actually talk to someone, share people, and have it be open, as opposed to this thing that we all do where we're just hanging on to our people and we don't want anyone else to have the name. And that doesn't benefit us. It benefits me when folks that I know go out and do things at other places and their name gets bigger, right? It doesn't benefit me to hang on to people and not share them. I need you to go off and have other experiences. I need you to work for other companies and get that resume up.
Yeah, it enhances your name, because if you say
Yeah.
Joe Smith, yeah, I helped Joe Smith do that, and they're like, oh, Joe Smith, wow, he's doing this and that and the other. It enhances you. It says, wow, this is the clientele that Kim has. That's
Yep.
fantastic.
There's a great company. Can't believe I'm about to plug another casting director. Aura Casting. It's all online. It's mostly commercial work.
Mhm.
And any actor who's listening that's in the Bay Area should sign up for their database, because he gets great work. It is all online. You submit your auditions online. He reaches out to you. He'll reach out to your agent. His name is Taylor Lambert, I think. And it's a very different business than mine, but it is a great thing for every actor to do, is to audition for genres that you don't know how to audition for.
Mm-hmm.
To put yourself through the process of a self-tape, to put yourself through the process of a voiceover audition, to all of a sudden, have to shave your legs on camera for a commercial audition, to just experience all of that. It just makes you better when you audition for the things that you actually love. So yeah, I think everyone needs to also, I would like to say, if a casting director reaches out to you and says, please audition for this, and you look at it and it doesn't seem right for you,
Mm-hmm.
do it anyway. There's a reason.
Right.
They might be asking you to audition because there's something else coming up for this company later. They might be asking you to audition because you're trying to break the stereotype that the producer wants, that we just talked about.
Right.
There's a reason. I'm never asking someone to audition for fun.
Yeah. And even if you're not picked up, they may remember you, and
Absolutely.
they have that, especially if you have something online, they'll have that and they can, use it for something else in the future. Just get your name out there, get your face out there.
I am NDA'd to high heaven on all the stuff that I work on.
Sure, I bet.
And so me asking you to audition for something may also be me saying, hey, I need you to practice because I've got this other thing coming up that I can't tell you about.
Yeah.
and no, this isn't right for you, but I need you to get used to your mic, to get used to your phone, to try, because I believe in you and I'm going to need you in a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
I had a quick,
directing side of casting director.
Yep. Yeah, it
yeah.
is.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is.
I was going to ask you about the business side of it. I mean, how do you negotiate, I don't know, contracts? I don't know if when you work with a company that wants to, use you to cast
Excuse
people.
me.
Um,
I so I work in many different ways. I was doing a big show that lasted several seasons, and so they hired me for a couple of years and then put me on retainer when they needed new characters, or we were in a situation where kids were aging out of their voices.
mm,
So they
Hmm.
wanted to make sure that I was around in case they needed to, recast a kid. Um, I've done it that way. I've done it hourly, which, I never recommend hiring a creative person hourly because they will spend all your money. We don't stop, right?
right.
Right.
There's no, our brains are always going. Um, I have been hired by project. I take into consideration where your company is in the process. Are you a startup? Am I casting your scratch because you're trying to get funding for, a bigger project? I have seen all sides and levels. So I have the freedom, luckily, to work with you on what you need. I can serve a not-for-profit as much as I can serve a only for profit
Yeah.
art situation.
So it sounds like it's not, it wasn't because a lot of art, a lot of artists, because there are folks who will be watching this. Of course, we'll have this on YouTube and listening to this, and they're like, wow, I want to do that. But they won't know how to, let's say, handle the contract negotiations, or let's say, well, this is my salary or whatever, this is what I'm looking for. But it sounds
Yeah,
like that's not a big issue for you.
it was, and it is. I mean, money, of course, is important to all of us. It's a shame in the arts to have to handle it as much as we do. But I think in this industry, I think across all industries, we are so cagey about admitting what we make.
Right.
I also, I could do a whole other hour with you on bid culture and how horrific it is,
Yeah.
and what it does to artists, and how it allows people who are already established and have money to underbid. So they just keep getting the work, where people who actually have to take the job to eat
Yeah.
don't ever get to express their creative selves because they're constantly being underbid.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah,
now.
I was just going to say, there's also the concept of value. You have a value, even if, I just want, like you and other artists, let's say the person that you may be representing, you're basically saying to a company, listen, I have a value with what I'm providing for you, and the person who I'm presenting also has a value. So, you need to recognize that value, because I totally understand, let's say a person saying, well, I want to get cast, and it's a small company, and and a company may be pressuring another person, well, can you work for just a little bit of money? We try to stress, and we've done this many times on the A, understand what your value is, and don't be afraid to ask for your
Yep.
proper value.
Yeah, I think we just get ourselves into situations where, especially now, I don't understand, and I get it. I get the game of it. But if a company comes to me and says, we have this much money for the scope of this project, are you a good fit? And if you are a good fit, can we talk about why?
Mm,
That's all that needs to happen for you to get the best people, right?
Hmm.
That's it. But there's this game written into the system that includes bids. And I just watch, videographer friends of mine who are fighting to record theater productions because that's what we do now.
Right.
And they're underbidding each other for work that is extreme. I mean, to
Oh,
take
yeah.
in a play, the tone of a play, immediately figure out how to shoot it, how to provide the best experience for an audience. And you're not going to pay these people
Right.
half of what they're worth.
Yep.
It's a problem. And I get it. I get it. Like the topic of money is so complicated. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
just wish we were all more upfront about it.
Yeah.
And
Our
I'm
culture
thankful.
is strange that way.
Yeah. I'm thankful to be talking to other casting directors now who are willing to be open, if not about what they make, how they go about getting people, how we go about doing things. And that's all just going to help us. But I had to fight to build those relationships and to let those people know that I wasn't out to steal from them, that my curiosity was not because I want to take away their work. I just want to know if there's a better way to do my own work, or maybe I'm doing something in a way that would benefit you. And I'm fine sharing that stuff. Like, let's make it easier for each other.
Yeah.
It's complicated.
Yeah. And, I bring it up because as artists, we think about the art. We think about being on stage or getting cast and just getting the script and focusing on the things we love to do. But, the money thing is also an important thing. There are lots of really wonderful artists who don't do this stuff anymore because they're like, well, I'm just tapped out and I'm not making enough money. But they haven't really thought about what they do as a business and to conduct themselves as, hey, listen, this is, and I'm not talking about, being cast at a startup or at a young company that's just beginning and they don't have the money. Sometimes you work on a project because you have a passion for it.
Yeah.
But you can only do that for so long. It's correct for if a company has the money to be fair. And I'm sure you advocate for that as well. I also wanted to talk about the Leviathan Chronicles. I mean, did you have a last point?
No. I think most casting directors, we advocate for our actors. We fight for contracts. We go to bat for you. And I think there's a sense of, we all feel like when we're cast in something or we've had to negotiate that we've been screwed a little bit. So I think if I can impart anything, it's that people have fought for you and you're probably getting what you can get in that particular situation. So if it's a project that will benefit you, not financially, but professionally, there's value in that too. But just know that someone went to bat for you along the way. You're not alone in the process, even though it feels that way.
Yeah, it's always wonderful to have someone in your corner. And
Yeah.
I know, I would love to have a casting director, to someone, let's say, get an arbitrary phone call from someone saying, hey, Kim Donovan suggested you for something. It's like, wow, that is fantastic. And even if I don't get it, it's like, wow, someone had me in the back of their
Somebody
mind.
was thinking about you, yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's
I
a
wonder
wonderful
if there
thing.
are folks that you've discovered or feel like you've discovered. I mean, they may be
Me?
just discoveries for you, but people where you're like, I thought that person was really good, and then you get to see them actually blossom in the roles.
I watch, do you guys know Terrence Smith?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So Terrence is already a great actor, but I cast him in a role on a kids show, Go Go Corey Carson, and he plays DJ Train Tracks, who is a train that is the personality of a show, kind of like a Soul Train for kids.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome.
And I watched him and I knew it. I just didn't know him well when I cast him. And I watched him just eat that role alive. Like he
Okay.
was just, and I was so proud of him, and I don't want that to sound maternal or, just in as a fellow performer,
Right.
it was just like, yes, go Terrence, go. And I tend to throw him auditions all the time because he's one of those people that if he doesn't get it, it's fine.
Yeah.
We're friends. We're okay. He knows my situation as much as I know his, and he thanks me and we move on, and it's just a really lovely relationship. So yeah, there's a few people that I feel very close to just because I got to watch them bloom in a industry that they hadn't played in before. So it's hard not to take a little personal pride in that,
You may not know of her, but there was a casting director, Barbie Stein, way back. And yeah, it was very clear that there were folks that she felt, she really kind of took an interest in their career, not just, this knockoff or that. I'm losing my son. Casting. And yeah, it's neat to see casting directors. I've always thought casting directors have that power, and it's refreshing to hear you say that you're actually talking to other casting directors, because I feel like that is a part of the culture, and people don't always appreciate what happens when you've got the filter, which is the casting director, helping to nurture the talent, helping to create the artistic, this is what it's going to look like because these are the materials that I'm bringing you to work with.
I have folks that sincerely ask when they don't get a part. Talk to me about my audition when you get a chance. Talk to me about why. Is it something that I did? Is there something I could do better? And most of the times there's not, right? Because you're matching their voice with 800 other voices, and it has very little to do with their performance was great. So it has very little to do with anything other than their voice didn't gel with, the lead that has already been cast.
Right.
But I will always take the time to listen to your audition and to give you feedback if you are indeed genuinely interested in getting better. And I know that not a lot of people do that, but I am also very aware of my, that I pluck people out of an industry that they're in and toss them into a new one with very little information. So if I'm doing that, then I'm going to help you if you're interested.
Right.
And I love that part of it. I love in the same way that I love coaching, and getting to help someone understand that they are emoting their hearts out, but their voices sounded the exact same in the 3 takes that they gave me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But their bodies were giving it their all. So it's so gratifying and fun to play with pushing the body out through the voice. I love working with people in that way.
Yeah, it's a shame that because we don't have enough time to talk about that plus Leviathan Chronicles, because that's a whole different
I definitely want to plug Leviathan because I'm in love with it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you guys, how long have you guys been doing Leviathan Chronicles? And for those who don't know, and we'll have a link to Leviathan Chronicles, but basically it's like radio. It's like radio theater, but it's based on a podcast, and it's based on, well, you tell me, what's it all about?
It is a episodic science fiction podcast. It has won awards. It has an incredible fan base. I was one of their leads for 50 episodes. It's been on for a while. Dang. That chapter has ended. So Leviathan ended. But a company has sprung out of it, Leviathan Audio Productions. They're based in San Francisco. It's run by Christoph Lepuka, and he's terrific. He's an ex-banker turned sci-fi creator. He's got a real passion for story. And we are creating, and I say we because I'm casting for them now, a spinoff called The Rapscallion Agency. And it takes place in Paris. It's still sci-fi. It's still action adventure. There's romance. There's croissants. There's the Eiffel Tower. It's beautiful.
That's funny.
But they are now in a position to be considered an official startup. They've got funding. They have ideas for multiple spinoffs. There's a desire for spinoffs from the fans. So it's just really exciting to have been a part of something that was a passion project and to see it just keep gathering steam. Also, because it's a podcast, people keep discovering it for the first time. So there's something really lovely about hearing someone say, oh my gosh, I just discovered Leviathan, when I finished recording a year ago, right? It's gone for me. I'm done. Right. But I can't wait for people to hear the spinoffs, because it's everything you love about sci-fi, right? The villains are wonderful. The action is exciting.
And I imagine it must be fun to create, the villains because it's basically, just the voices and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I'm looking at the website now, the winner of the New Jersey Web Fest 2021. So already, people all over the United States are discovering the Leviathan Chronicles. So that is awesome.
We are, it's international. The love, the fan love, and it's exciting. I don't know. I never thought I would get fan mail. That's I'm always shy because in a radio play situation, everyone you hear a voice and immediately assume what their face looks like. Right. So I'm always super shy to present myself as the character Macallan Orsel, because I don't want to upset someone's, if they've listened to me for that many seasons, I want them to maintain their vision of my character. But my God, what a great character. She was like Han Solo and a archivist all kind of smashed together. She just so much fun. I got my Arnold Schwarzenegger lines, like "Die, you alien scum," and like that.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
it sounds like it should be. I wish it were a Netflix series, or
well, it should. It's funny because all of the streaming companies are now pulling from podcasts. So it's important to for actors to know, performers to know that there's a wealth of content being created from the podcast industry. So keep your ear out, because listen to it, listen to the popular ones, listen to these shows. Like there's such value to it now, and we're all, we're stuck at home still.
Yeah, no, this is a perfect time to listen to podcasts. And like I said, the Leviathan Chronicles, you jump into it, and since there's been so many episodes, 50 episodes, it just goes on, and now there'll be a sequel, so that'll be cool.
Yeah, and it's fun people get so opinionated, your character makes a bad decision, and people hate you because they can't separate and it's fun. It's like, oh, okay, okay. You guys are in it. I can't be mad at you for hating me, because I get it. Yeah, it's cool. It's really fun.
So how long have you been a voiceover coach? And also you're a coach for doing auditions as well.
Yeah, so I started helping people who have monologues that they've been doing forever, that they don't want to give up, but they want to tweak. So I enjoy coming in and messing with your brain. I enjoy messing with your interpretation of your monologue that you've got. So there's different options, right? So it so well that when you're doing it, you can use, whatever you're going through and make changes and have it be fresh. People who are self-directing content often need some feedback when they've got a monologue or when they've got a trick in a scene. If you've written something yourself and need to make sure that you're not stuck in a rut, I enjoy those situations as well. And then for folks that are nervous about starting voiceovers or auditioning, I love Zoom. I love for this purpose. I love working with you. I love helping you with a moment before. I love working on your slate, because we all do these horrible slates before an audition. We're either dead serious. This is Kim Donovan. I'm a very serious actress. And then you launch into your part, or, you're like reinforcing that you're the quirky neighbor. Like, hey, I'm Kim Donovan. And so it's finding that natural.
Yeah.
It's so hard to be natural.
It's almost like conducting energy. It's like, whatever
Yeah.
energy you have, either you have to boost it up or calm it down, or, just find that nice proverbial mix.
Yeah. So I
natural.
enjoy, I love actors. I love that one-on-one time. I love merging realism and presentation, and there's that sweet spot in voiceovers, because it's not natural. It's not a natural thing to even what we're doing right now. It doesn't feel natural to see you on Zoom and have a microphone here and naturally chit chat about stuff when I know that so many people are going to listen to it. So it's
right, exactly.
kind of
There's a structure.
finding that balance where it's okay to acknowledge that it's artificial. It's okay to acknowledge that it makes your body tense. It's just how you use it that really
Right.
counts. Yeah. So
I thought that would be easier to communicate when I was dealing with these high school kids this week. I would say that nervousness you feel, that's the character's nervousness. Let that energy be the character, because we're not going to get rid of it. That takes more work than we've got time for. So
Yeah.
let's just accept that that's who the character is today.
Yep.
As more and more as I talk to actors and, like doing the podcast, but also just in acting, where acting is more about controlling your energy and pushing that energy, using that energy to feed the character that you're doing. It's always very interesting, and conversations like this reinforces that concept. It's like, you have an energy when you walk onto the stage or when you're in front of people that you've never seen doing an audition, and you have to sort of ground yourself, and then you launch into it, whatever that energy may be.
Yeah.
And just
It's
using whatever you
okay.
have.
It's okay if your hands are shaking. It's okay. Like everyone watching you knows, like we know what that feels like. Right. So
Right.
just go. Don't try to stop it. There's something, Sean Jay, who's directing Dot, is very much, if you ask him permission, he'll say no as a
Yeah.
point. Right.
Mm,
So he just wants you to do.
yeah.
Just do. He rough blocks, right? And then
Mhm.
expects you to go, to say, okay, I know I have to end up here, because he's also painting a picture, but my journey to get there can be all sorts of stuff. And it's my job to play with it. It's not his job to feed me every single moment of it,
Yeah, he strikes me when we had him on, and he's also directed me. We Playwright Center for San Francisco. He's worked in that, but he's very much show me what you got,
Yeah.
and then we'll work with it. But don't ask me to feed it to you. And I totally understand that. I respect that as an actor.
Yeah, it's fun. I love being told what to do, and I also love trying not to swear. I also love getting to mess with it as much as possible, right? Because I don't feel the same way when I come to rehearsal every day. I have a life. There's things that have gone on. And for someone to say, let it happen, put it in there. Like, let's see. Don't shut yourself down, incorporate it. And it's so lovely to get to play in that way and not be dictated to. There's a real trust there. And I feel it. And when he gives a note, he means it, like he's a diva. He'll tell you that. And he earns it. It's not a faux He's not putting it on. Like
Yeah.
he takes care of you and he pushes you. I
Well,
appreciate it.
he's assertive. He's one of those directors where
Yeah.
it's like, hey, this is where it is. And it reminds me so much of the teachers that I've had when I was in school. It's like, hey, listen, let's do this. And because there's some directors who they don't want to hurt your feelings
Right.
and they want to use, very calming languages. And although I understand that that can sort of, it can prolong the process. Sometimes you need a director to say, hey, listen, we don't need that. You need to pick up the pace, and this is what we're trying to do. And let's go.
We've all either been in therapy enough or around therapy enough to hear I'm giving you a compliment before I tell you.
Yes. Right.
And I smell that the minute it starts coming out of your mouth. I smell it and I don't want it anymore. Do you know what I mean? Don't waste my time.
Give it to me.
Pat my ass. Give me my note.
That's
Let's
right.
talk
Give it
about
to me.
it. Yeah. So it's such a funny, we all smell that when we're being handled now. And it's refreshing to be able to say to someone, I don't need that. It's also to bring it back to voiceovers. Most people directing voiceovers do not have acting training and also have not learned how to speak to actors.
Right.
They are in a different industry. Time is expensive. They need something from you. So when they give a line reading, right? You give them that back. You do the line reading for them. I'm around so many actors who get a line reading and they still want to mess with it. And it's like, no,
it's really mimicking.
You do what just
what
happened.
I tell you. Yeah.
Give them that for coverage and then you can play. Right.
Yeah.
But they are nervous. There are producers in the booth. There's a script soup who's like making sure that we get all the lines in time. And you need to be okay with abrupt direction, line readings, and not feeling great at the end of a session because no one is going to take the time to throw you a parade.
Right. That's exactly right.
You're a tool in this huge process and they are thankful for you. They appreciate you, but they're never going to say it. And so it's a real jarring experience when you're used to people handling you as a sensitive performer.
Yeah.
And I have to remember when I'm working with strictly theater professionals to add a layer of softness back into how I speak with you, because it's a different kind of creature. As opposed to someone who's doing a voiceover and is there to get in and out.
Yeah.
And to get out of your hair. So it's fascinating.
Yeah, I had a question regarding voiceover, and I'm looking at the time as well because I know you have to get going.
Yeah, we need
do you work, Kim, with because when I was in school, we worked with resonators, the chest resonator to get the voice low, the mask resonator to really have that sharp, piercing or like to have the sound cut through, and the head resonator to have a softer sound. Do you work with actors who do voiceovers? Do you do that sort of work as well?
I do not. There is, depending on the situation, I don't have the time for that. I have heard you've given me an audition and that's what I need. I need you to listen to your audition before you come back in. So you hear what it was that you did. And you have to be willing to change it, but you also have to know the baseline for why we brought you back into the booth. That's on you because the direction you're getting is, I need you to be taller. I've gotten that before.
Sure.
I need you to be sexier, which the minute someone says be sexier, you're not, right? The minute you start trying to be sexy, it all just goes away. You need to be able to take what someone says and not think, just do it. You need me to sound taller? I don't know what the hell that means, but I'm gonna do it. But if you stop and think about it, you're not gonna get there.
Right.
So that work that you're talking about, Reg, is on the individual.
Yeah, that's the individual work. Yeah. I
Yeah.
totally hear you. I totally hear
Yep.
you.
That's not on me, and that's not on the company. And I'm not going to coax you there. I just need you to get there. That's my dog running back and forth.
I hear
Not
you.
doing that kind of that kind of
She's
coach.
very excited.
No, but it is, no, it's been fantastic. You're just doing all sorts of, well, you've always been a bundle of energy. You know, you got the voiceover training, and you have Levine, although that's closing up, but you know, there's chapter 2.
Yeah.
And then you have Dot, which is going on. So it is just fantastic. You're always a bundle of it. You always have a smile on your face. You know,
Oh,
it's COVID, you know, you've got family things going on, but you
I
know,
got my yay jersey.
right on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
No problem.
All righty. So let's close it up. Shout outs, birthdays, of course, Kim Donovan. You have your birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
I've got a little bit of a list. Carrie Edel Isaacman is somebody I went to San Francisco State with. I believe she's now in New York, acting, maybe directing a little. Sheila Balter is part of the Word for Word crew, these wonderful women who create this amazing work. And she was my first director when I worked with them. We did House on Mango Street. I would be remiss if I did not mention that this week is my wife's birthday on Tuesday, Mara Fox. Meryl Shaw was a casting director, I think, at ACT when I first got here, and then went on to work with other folks. I remember seeing her at a party a few years ago, and I don't remember where the conversation went, but somebody said about, oh, you know where the bodies are buried. She said, I can tell you where all the bodies are buried. So if you ever want more Bay Area history, Meryl Shaw is a great person to talk to. Genevieve Jessie McCall, her birthday's coming up this week. She's a playwright. Been working with her a lot with Playground. Bedelia Albanese, I believe I said that correct. Bedelia and I last summer both were understudying for Pericles with San Francisco Shakespeare Festival. Her birthday's coming up this week. She is just finishing up playing Phoebe in As You Like It at the Maskers Theater. Folks, I will be talking to very soon since I'm supposed to direct for them this fall.
Oh, what are you directing?
I am directing Compared to What? I can send
Oh,
you
the Judith Offer piece. Yeah.
I don't know it.
It's a Judith Offer, local Oakland playwright, about the Pullman Porters and the boarding house that they're staying at. This woman who runs a boarding house for the Porters.
That's awesome.
It's a neat piece. Wilma Bonet, I'm skipping a couple of names because I think you might have them. Wilma Bonet's birthday is coming up this week, end of the week. Amazing actress. I've also worked with her where she's directed me, and I know she's a teacher. She's been a part of the Latin theater scene most of the time I've been here. Brian Herndon is a name. I think I finally got to work with Brian after decades, but I kept hearing his name in Bay Area theater, and it seemed like he was all over the place. I went to see him finally once in Little Shop of Horrors. He was having so much fun on stage. When you see a performer who's totally hitting their marks, but also just dancing through it, they're having so much fun.
Yep.
That's Brian Herndon. We don't always get to focus on producers as much. Matthew Quinn was working with, I believe it's where, not Cutting Ball, it's the other little theater in San Francisco. Why am I spacing on their name? Anyway, and it was weird because we were on the TBA.
Could it be Crowded Fire?
Hmm?
Could it be Crowded Fire?
No, not Crowded Fire. No.
Exit?
Don't worry about it.
Oh, sorry.
It's a C. It's a C name, but I can't think of it right now.
Custom made.
Custom Made. That's it. Yes. I don't think it was custom made. There were 2 theaters in the space when they first were getting up and running, and he was a master at managing that. I was on the theater service committee with him, and it was always fascinating to hear what he was thinking about. And I believe he's down in Hollywood now, hopefully still doing that. He was so creative. Edward Webster is a local actor I got to do Lobby Hero with. And it was a Lobby Hero. The main character is a dream role, and Edward was so precise in it. I got cast in the show again a couple of years later with a guy who was more like a goofball. Both aspects worked on the play. It was fascinating to watch. Skipping that name. Did I get everybody else? I think I did. Wow, I got through my list.
Oh, okay. So my list, Paul Plain, his birthday was 2 days ago, and he is an actor that I was on stage with. We did Women on the Verge of Nervous Breakdown. Also on the 17th, Richard Wenzel. He is a longtime actor who's worked with the Playwright Center for San Francisco. Mara, happy birthday, Mara. Her birthday's February 22nd.
Happy
Also
birthday, Mara.
also on February 22nd, Jocelyn De Leon, who is a ex-Bindle Stiffer. And I think I worked with her when we did Stories High in 2011. Also, February 22nd, we had Melissa Mambuis. I don't know if you remember her, Norman. She was the
Yes.
woman. Yeah, she I acted with her. We did Grey Gardens, and she told a really wonderful story about her dealing with I forget what her disease was. I'm going to botch it, but in any
Like
case,
one of those fatigue. Was it the fatigue thing?
exactly, yeah. And how she, still was a working actor while dealing with this, generative disease, and still sort of, just having autonomy over herself. So we want to thank her for that. Also, February 22nd, Manny Cabrera, that's another ex-Bindle Stiffer, and his birthday is February 22nd. On the 23rd, Alan Byron, another ex-Bindle Stiffer. Also on the 23rd, Conrad Panganaban, famous writer, playwright, and also a Bindle Stiffer.
Yeah.
On the 24th, Kina Cantor, she is a actress and a violinist. So we want to wish her happy birthday.
Huh.
Also on the 24th, I think you saved this for me, Lily Tongue Crystal,
Yep.
who she was the founder of, Ferocious Lotus, and now she's in Minnesota. And we want to say thank you.
Moo Theater.
Theater Moo, yeah. And so happy birthday, Lily. And the last one that I have is Sarah Corda. We were on stage. We did 100 years of political theater. This was back in the Eastender days, 2005, 2004. And we did a Carol Churchill piece, Far Away. And I have no idea what she's doing these days. I hope she's back still doing acting because she's a fantastic talent. Oh, I forgot one more. Misty Ann Lutterell, and her birthday is February the 23rd. Beautiful actress. This is a piece that Susan Evans directed. It was a theater, Commedia dell'arte piece, a Lorca piece called Don Perlimplin, and she was the muse, and the whole audience was just mesmerized by her. And I have no idea what she's doing these days. Actually, we did an interview with the Capozis, one of the youngest interviews that we've had on the Yay, and they were taught by Misty Ann. So apparently she's doing teaching. So happy birthday, Misty Ann. Happy birthday to everyone. Shows.
Baldwin.
The Baldwin Project.
Baldwin
I've got
today
that
at
on my
3
list.
o'clock, and then next Saturday at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, at the Bayfront Theater, Fort Mason, 6 p.m.
And tonight, As You Like It at the Maskers is closing. So that is it tonight? No, I think they actually closed last night. I think for some weird reason they closed on Friday.
So Playground San Francisco, they have their new topic is What the World Needs Now. Part of Monday Night
I'm directing
Playground.
on that Monday.
That's right. You are directing on that. I think also Kimberly Ridgway also directing too?
I think she is.
Think so. Yes.
Yeah.
Gave her a really
Yeah.
cool piece.
Yeah, and Yumi Kobori has wrote pieces for it as well as Lisa Kang. And so check that out. That's February the 21st for Playground. We mentioned the Baldwin Project, February the 19th today at the Peralta Hacienda House, 3 p.m. Shay Angelo Aceveda, and Erlina Somero will be, along with other folks, will be in that. Viet Gong, City Lights Theater will be doing Viet Gong, which is a Jeffrey Lowe piece. And that will be March the 24th through April 24th. So that's a while back, but we'll be advertising that as it goes on. The Mountaintop, tomorrow is their last night, the Pear Theater. Damaris is in the Mountaintop, and so you should check that out.
Yep.
Ending tomorrow. My Hate Letter to the Great American Theater, Shotgun Players, is doing that. That also ends tomorrow. We had Golda Sargento, aka Rebel Maria, who is featured in that, and she's in that show. Carmen, Opera San Jose is doing Carmen, and Brenna Kimmerly, who was in episode 203 of our show, she is in that, and that ends February the 27th. Escape from the Asylum, Central Works. That is the play that Gary Graves is directing. Alan Coyne is in. Jens Leifler is in. March 17th through April 17th. So check that out.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'll actually be doing box office for some of those dates. So if people
Oh, very cool.
That's
say
part
hi.
2, right, of the ladies detective agency?
I
I
know
think
nothing
so.
about it.
Yeah. Also, of course, we're going to pump Dot, the New
Oh,
Conservatory
yeah.
Theater.
Come see
March-
Dot.
Exactly. March the 4th through April the 3rd. Kim Donovan, Kimberly Ridgway is in the show. Sean J. West is directing it. We have a link, so check that out. Also, The Hollow, City Lights Theater, is doing The Hollow. That'll end March the 6th. Amy and Yumi Kabori is in that show. We've talked about Dr. Stephanie Johnson. She has a class teaching on lighting for the Oakland Theater Project, The Magic of Lighting. We have a link to that, and that'll begin March the 7th through the 28th. And there are a couple of podcasts that I'll push. Barry Graves, he has a podcast, The Black Man's Heart, so check that out. Mallory Samara, KCBS Radio, she also does that. That's her day job. And she has a podcast called Connect the Dots, which is a weekly news podcast. Also, Bindlestiff has the Fobcast, exploring Philippine-American immigrant stories, so check that out as well. That is it. Kim, did you have a good time?
I had a great time. I miss you guys.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
You're part of my my first experiences in Bay Area theater, and I think about you all the time when stuff pops up. So I appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much. And also, people should check out your what is it, the IMDb page, because
Oh.
every time someone clicks on an actor's IMDb page, it helps the actor out. You know, you can say, hey, I got a bunch of likes, or I had a bunch of clicks on my thing. So Internet Movie Database, I think that's what it's called. So check that out, because you've done a bunch of things, a bunch of independent films.
There's another Kim Donovan who is a sexy pirate in the Midwest, and so make sure you're clicking on the right
correct
Kim Donovan. This one, who is not a sexy pirate.
You're the other kind of
Could be
pirate.
though.
I'm the other Kim Donovan. Yeah.
All righty. So we want to thank everyone. And before I forget, we've got Yay jerseys. Come check it out. I've got this right here. I'm going to have to reverse the because this is backwards.
No, it looks forward on my screen.
Oh, does it? Okay. So
Yep.
maybe when I push it, it'll be forwards or backwards. But check it out. We have the pinstripes. We have the white. We have the black. Kim has one. A bunch of folks have been buying it. So we want to thank you for supporting the Yay. It's $30. Come just DM me if you want to purchase one. And you're watching this on YouTube, so like and subscribe. Tell us what you like, what you don't like. Give us suggestions. Give us any feedback. It always helps out the show. If you're listening to this on the traditional podcast app, we're on all the purple podcast apps. If you have an iPhone or an iPad, we're on Spotify, although I think we should probably not be on Spotify anymore, but because of the controversy.
They were bad. They were bad people.
Exactly. And if you're an Android user, you can use the SoundCloud app, or just go on soundcloud.com and you can find us. The Yay was created by theater people for theater people. If you have a show you want to advertise, or if you just want to advertise yourself, let us know. Our Twitter feed is the Yay3. I'm at Red Space Clay.
And I'm at Hoosier.
And Kim, I think you have Instagram or Facebook. I know you're on Facebook, but you're on Instagram.
I think I'm Kim Sudan on Instagram, and you guys can find me on just Kim Donovan on Facebook. Yeah.
There you go. So that is it. I'm going to grab something to eat, and then I will see you in another 3 hours, Norman, as we do the Baldwin Project.
Yeah, I'm going to get over there and set up in about an hour.
Yeah. All right. Thank everyone so much. And as Norman and I always say,
we gotta
find a better sign-off.
sign-off.
And we are out.